Are there things you're doing now that you wouldn't have envisioned doing?
We actually fundamentally stopped serving Tanzania for some time because most of these markets are behind us. What can you do better? What can you offer more? Every business needs to communicate. So how can we embed technology in there to create relationships with their customers?
I want to know a little bit more about those market challenges.
You can't build a big business just relying on it. People aren't buying software to stay ahead. How do we empower businesses to leverage technology, but then that always fails?
As a tech startup founder, who were your most important hires in the early days? We all have ideas, and sometimes they're not that great. However, sometimes they can be very, very, very good ideas that compel you to take an action. And they compel you to take an action because at your core, you would be believing that this particular product or service or sometimes a solution could change things up. It could challenge status quo. And you know what? Good on you. Go ahead and do it. However, as you're designing this product, please make sure to keep in mind design and marketplace. And as you're watching this episode today, I would like to pose a question to you. And the question is your product a vitamin or a painkiller? And what does the market really want? Mgeni wetu wa kutupiga msasa siku ya leo ni Taha Jiwadi. Every once in a while, tunapokea feedback kwamba podcast yetu ni ngumu kumeza. Ila sasa, tunafanyaje? Maana uhalisia wa stories za watu waliofanikiwa, ukiangalia na ukidadisi na ukiwauliza maswali mazuri, unagundua kwamba it wasn't easy. Kuna ugumu ndani yake, kuna sacrifices ndani yake. Na ndio maana tunaendelea kukukaribisha kwenye Msasa, where we talk to successful people about failure. Taha, karibu sana. Karibu Msasani. Yes, pun intended. I've been a fan. And from an outsider looking in, I think the work you're doing is quite interesting, the work you're doing within the tech space. I think it's interesting because it's quite obvious what you're offering. And I'm particularly, as a communication person, I'm particularly interested in the Moja product as an omni-channel communication platform that can enable organizations to be efficient in the way they interact and service their customers. But I'll be honest as well, as an outsider looking in, it looks like this is very, very cool. I don't really know what it takes to run a business like Beam, right? And then, before we started recording, you were telling me Beam is 15 years old. That's like half my age. Can you tell us, how did Beam come about? What inspired it? And what's that journey been like over the last decade and a half?
Sure. There's two stories to Beam, the starting of Beam. So the first one is while we were in university, a couple of friends and I started a company. And the name of the company was called Campus SMS.
Campus SMS.
Yes. And I still have that domain, by the way. The idea behind that company was basically simple. We didn't want to miss the free pizza at lunchtime where there was events going on, right? Uh-huh. On campus. And remember, this is now 2005, 2006. And so smartphones were not there. You couldn't to check your email, which is the only way you would get a reminder. You had to go to a PC, log in and check. But everyone had a basic phone at that time. If you remember the Nokia Tochis.
Yeah.
Right?
The phone that never dies.
Yeah, and in the US, they had the flip phones, the ones that flipped open.
Yeah.
So we said, why can't I get a text message? So we started kind of building out this simple thing where groups would upload their lists of people who wanted to attend, and they would get a reminder before the event.
On their SMS.
as an SMS, and then they would pay for the SMS. So that, we got excited. Students started using it, but then as we left, we graduated, it kind of fizzled out, right? But that kind of concept stayed in my mind. And then when after I graduated, I was working, and my parents were still here, and they had a computer business. And their challenge at the time was their customers were students. And obviously, you're not going to advertise in the newspaper or to reach students. What's the best way to reach students, right? And so then that's when this idea of SMS came about again. And so we started, at that point, it was just simple. We put all the numbers on a phone. We made a list on the phone, on the Nokia, and we sent simple messages to everyone, and it worked.
Like a bulk SMS.
Like it was a bulk SMS, but manually sent on the phone.
Okay.
Right? And students started coming, and kind of the word of mouth spread.
Sorry, when you say computer business, you mean they
would sell laptops and
Okay.
Computer systems and
Okay.
things like that.
Okay.
And particularly used laptops. So students would buy used laptops.
Yeah.
So that was the business. And so I said, okay, if this works, let's try it. I started talking to whenever I came back, I started talking to some of my parents' friends, and they had the same kind of challenges. So we started experimenting with them as well. So I remember one friend had a whole diary. It was like 1,000 numbers that they had been writing of every customer. So we typed all of those, and we sent messages to them just to test, okay, does this work? And yeah, we got a good response. So then I said, okay, this is around 2009-ish, 2010-ish.
Mm-hmm.
And said, okay, is this something that can become a business? So I started formulating the kind of business plan, and I jumped ship. I left my job and said, okay, I'm going to start this. So I made the prototype while I was still working in the US, and said, okay, that's it, I'm coming home. And my parents thought I was nuts. I'm leaving everything and just saying, come to start this concept. But that was the second beginning. And till now, that's what has kept us going.
So has the vision for Beam evolved over time, or is it
the vision has always been, how do we fundamentally give technology to businesses to help them grow, right? And we chose the aspect of using communication to help them grow, because we said every business needs to communicate, fundamentally. Even if they don't want to use technology, they still need to communicate. So how can we embed technology in there so that they can leverage that and use that as a starting point?
Okay.
Then if they want to add more on top of that, well and good.
Okay.
But at least fundamentally, they're going to communicate, and can we help them make it better?
Okay.
So that was always saying, okay, this is the vision, but this is how we're going to make it happen.
Okay.
And so our mission is always, how do we empower businesses to leverage technology to create relationships with their customers? That's how we describe
relationships with their customers.
Yeah, okay. Create lasting relationships.
Right. So it's mostly external communication.
It's external. Internal. Yeah. And that's why most of our customers are those who are B2C facing.
Right.
That have a lot of customers to deal with. Are serving a lot of them.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So the why has never changed. How has evolved. Over time.
Okay.
And obviously technology evolution affects that as well.
Okay. Are there things you're doing now that you wouldn't have envisioned doing?
Of course, yeah. I mean, a lot of the things that we're doing now didn't exist back then, like WhatsApp and so on. So AI didn't exist. So that vision has evolved to say, okay, now how can we leverage the new trends and new technologies to make it even better for these businesses?
Okay. And for somebody who's running like a technology firm like yours, company like yours, what percentage of the team is like technical software people. You're a software engineer too, right?
I'm a computer engineer.
You're a computer engineer too.
Yeah. I'd say at least 50%.
50%.
50% is, cross engineering, support, all of these things.
And then the rest is sales, marketing.
Sales, marketing, finance.
Okay. You still build things, or you?
Yeah, I still look at code. I'm still there. If something is not working, I'll sit with the engineers to brainstorm. If there's something we're designing, I'm still there to give feedback, and I'm really involved with the product.
Okay.
Because that's the core of what we want to build, and the vision is around the product.
Yeah.
Because we're a product-driven company.
Yeah.
So it's very much something I enjoy, and I'm always involved in.
You're technically in B2B though, right?
Technically, we are a B2B company, but our customers are
B2C. Okay. Do you sell? Do you find yourself selling more?
All the time.
All the time?
All the time.
You have a big sales team?
Yeah, decent size. We have about 7-8 people.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So you have 7 people, but you're also still selling?
Oh, of course, yeah. The founder always has to keep selling.
The founder always has to keep selling. Tell me about that.
See, people, at the end of the day, people work with you for the relationship.
Yeah.
Yes, they like the product and they will start using the product, but they will stay because they believe in the company and the values and the people.
Right.
The founder is an extension of that, right? Like you have to personify those values.
Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes they also end up buying you before they buy whatever it is that you're selling.
Yeah, and what we're selling is not it's not the first thing I think about getting up in the morning, right? Like as someone else will not get up and say, I want to buy a communication product, right?
Yeah.
So we really have to educate people. We're always educating. Like we've been educating from day one. And so this is a way of educating. It's not selling, you're educating first, and then if they understand it, then they'll buy it.
Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you something. So we're a marketing firm. And every 2 years or so, we try and roll out something that's in-house. One particular product that we've been able to roll out is Distro. Distro is an online drinks delivery platform. We do wholesale, retail, and events. Okay. And one of the challenges we had, one was finding a good balance between what we think people need versus what they actually need. Yeah. And what's that thing when you chop trees? Pruning features that are only cool in your mind. Yeah, because sometimes you build things and then nobody uses it.
It's still one of the biggest challenges that we face, right? That you have a vision of the product and what you think people will want.
Yeah.
But design and the market teaches you that you need to start at first principles. You need to start at really understanding what the problem is and what is the pain point you're going to solve and how are you going to solve it, regardless of the features and what it is that you're building. And as technology people, we like building, right? We love building and we say, this is cool, let's build it, and we'll show it or build it and they will come. But then that always fails, right? But then the opposite dilemma is if you can't show it without building it. You get the...
Yeah.
So the balance is, how do you build something to show that maybe solves the problem and maybe doesn't, and then be able to iterate it fast enough so that it does solve the problem.
So it eventually solves the problem.
But it's a very tricky balance and fine line, because if you sell it to them and it doesn't solve the problem, then they'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
But then you're also trying to get feedback and learn. So it's really about getting that customer to understand that we're building with you as opposed to for you.
All right. So like the more feedback you give us, don't shy away.
Those initial customers those initial customers are very hard to find.
Yeah.
In the work, we would call them early adopters.
Yeah.
Right? They're very hard to find
Because
because they're not
the guinea pigs.
Yeah, they're the guinea pigs, and they're
Yeah.
we're even willing to say, look, take it for free, just give us feedback.
Yeah.
But people have to invest a lot of time to use something, right?
And give you feedback.
And give you feedback, and so people they don't understand that, and then they just you guys suck.
Yeah.
So that's the balance.
So how do you find the balance? How have you been going about that?
I'm personally going to talk to people and to businesses and saying, and really listening to what they're saying and saying, does the product do that, or does the product not do that? And if it doesn't, then I don't sell. Because I know if we just try to push that box to them, they will not use it.
Who's the decision maker in the organizations that you work with? Is it like a communication person? Is this customer service, sales? Is it the owners, founders?
In what sense?
Like, like in B2B, when you're offering a certain service, the person who becomes a client, who you will be calling the client, like your point of contact, isn't always the decision maker. Sometimes they're just the focal point.
Yes.
And then in some instances, they are also the decision maker.
Correct.
And hence, in this case, solving the problem, you kind of want to be asking.
Yes, you want to ask. Yeah, you want to know all the stakeholders.
Yeah.
Because what you're solving for the user, the day-to-day user, is different from what you're solving for the decision maker.
Right.
Because the decision maker wants to know the outcome. Did you help me make more revenue?
Yeah, is there an ROI to this?
Right.
Yeah.
But then the user just wants to understand, is my life, day-to-day life, easier? Did you reduce the number of steps I had to take to do this?
Yeah. So who do you typically sell to?
You have to sell to everyone.
Okay.
And that's the challenge.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With software, because the buyer is different and the user is.
And the user is different, although it's the same company.
It's like a school, right? The user is the child, but you're selling to the parent.
You're right. Yeah. You said something earlier about pain point. And then, I don't know, I'm just trying to wrap my head around that personally as well. About really, really figuring out what that pain point is and solving that pain point. But I guess the other question I'm asking myself is, does it then mean pick fewer pain points to solve?
Yes.
Right?
And it's really about, there's this concept, are you selling vitamins or are you selling painkillers? Have you heard this before?
No.
So fundamentally, you need to think about, in our markets, people will buy painkillers. They're not going to buy vitamins.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're not going to buy nice to haves. They're going to buy something that solves my problem immediately and, solves my pain.
That makes
Because just
sense.
at the stage we are with our markets.
Yeah.
Right? People aren't buying software to stay ahead. Very few are doing that.
Yeah,
right?
they're buying
People
software for now.
For now to solve the pain.
Yeah. So then the pain could be anything. It could be efficiencies, could be speed.
Usually it's money, right?
Yeah.
Money or time.
Time or money. Money or time. Okay. You're in 25 markets with Beam.
Correct.
But you started with Tanzania?
Started Tanzania.
How many years did it take before you started getting out of Tanzania? Or how long?
We started going out 2015, 14, 15, something like that.
So you were 5 years already.
More, yeah.
Yeah. Is there a particularly big difference in terms of like acceptance rates and infrastructure when you're thinking about launching in other markets as opposed to Tanzania?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, every African country is unique, and each one has its own nuances in terms of where they are, their history, their infrastructure, their politics, their people. Everything is, there's similarities. Like if two West African countries might be similar, but they're still different. Just like Kenya and Tanzania are similar, but then they're still different fundamentally.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the case across the board. So you cannot generalize, right? But what I have found is that, funny, but you get a better reception outside your own country. When we go meet an operator in Senegal, we are treated like warmly greeted and accepted and welcomed, whereas the same thing here might have been, a mountain to climb.
You think that's a Tanzanian thing going out, or just any country wherever you are?
Any country, any African country, we've had the same experience.
Hiyo ni nini sasa? Ni kwamba Bongo tunachukuliana poa?
No, I think but it also happens the same in other markets because unfortunately, as a society, we look up to
new things.
No, we look up to foreigners.
Foreign things, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's a colonial mentality. Like it's a mindset that's come with historical context.
So it's a continental thing.
Yes. And so as you say, oh, you're coming from all the way over there. Suddenly, I mean, there's just a lot more respect and kind of, even though we may be a smaller company, but they just treat you a lot better. And then, so we actually fundamentally stopped serving Tanzania for some time.
What?
Yes, we stopped focusing on Tanzania.
Serving or focusing?
Focusing, I mean, we've served in the sense that we would not actively go out and sell. If you came and bought,
then cool.
Cool.
So you were just retaining?
We were just retaining and serving inbound.
Mm-hmm.
But we would literally just focus on outside.
Because of acceptance?
Because we wanted to scale. And we couldn't scale here. So we said, let's scale outside.
Why couldn't you scale here? Every once in a while, tunapokea feedback kwamba podcast yetu ni ngumu kumeza. Ila sasa, tunafanyaje? Maana uhalisia wa stories za watu waliofanikiwa, ukiangalia na ukidadisi na ukiwauliza maswali mazuri, unagundua kwamba it wasn't easy. Kuna ugumu ndani yake, kuna sacrifices ndani yake. Na ndio maana tunaendelea kukukaribisha kwenye Msasa, where we talk to successful people about failure.
Because we had reached some sort of ceiling, in terms of what the market would let us do, and how enterprises perceived us. Because unfortunately, again, unless you're foreign, they don't trust a local company when it comes to buying software. And you don't have the heft, they don't think you have the heft to serve them, or you don't have the connections to get in. Right?
We do by relationships.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of these organizations, to get in, you have to know someone, and you can only know so many people.
Yeah, it's a ceiling to that too.
So we said, look, we're just going to scale outside, and we literally just focus on growing markets. And every year we would add 3, 4. And then when we came back, suddenly they're like, where have you guys been? I'm like, we were always here. You just never
paid attention
and actually served us.
Taha, I want to know a little bit more about those market challenges.
Yeah.
Like, what are they exactly? Okay, other than the relationship where everybody needs to know somebody in order to do something. And then it's challenging because sometimes that defeats fair competition, or a very good product or very good solution might be missed as a result of it.
Correct.
It's fine though, it is what it is. I guess the game is to figure out how to be able to open those doors. But
correct.
What else is challenging with this market? So much so that, because you're not the first person who's in tech who had to go outside,
correct,
get bigger outside,
correct,
and then people here start remembering. And sometimes they remember, but it doesn't mean they'll buy still.
Correct.
What's the challenge?
I think it's not one, right? There's many challenges. I think the market is small, right? So you can't build a big business just relying on Tanzania. So you have to have a regional or Pan-African outlook to really build a big tech business. on the continent. I mean, it's just the way it is, right? The numbers aren't there. The markets aren't ready, you know. And to give you, like, if only 30% of people have smartphones, then, you know, if you had to extrapolate of how many businesses are actually tech enabled, is an extrapolation of that, it's a very small number, right? And we're a function of how quickly do businesses want to adopt tech, right? And because it's a volume business, it's a scale business. So the only way to then now scale is say, look, how do we broaden our horizons and look outside? And I fundamentally recommend or encourage any Tanzanian business owner, go outside.
Any business? Not just tech?
No, go. Like, even if you're a trader, just go to Zambia, go to Rwanda, go to Burundi. You'll get customers for sure. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. If you're a manufacturer, think about export from day one. Because that market is richer in the sense of it's higher purchasing, it's a higher value, higher margin sell. You know, instead of competing in the domestic, very competitive market, you're competing in a less, because most of these markets are behind us.
They are?
Yes.
They're behind Tanzania?
Behind Tanzania. You look at Rwanda, it's catching up, but it's still behind. Burundi, definitely behind.
Yeah.
Congo, definitely behind. Zambia, behind. Mozambique, behind. Malawi, definitely behind. I mean, just look at our neighboring.
Yeah.
Uganda, behind.
Uganda's behind Tanzania?
Yes.
I didn't know that. Okay. But then, although they're behind, you think they have higher purchasing power? Or your experience has been that?
No, because they have to rely on someone to give them that product. If they don't have it domestically.
They don't have as much options.
So why can't it be you instead of China?
Right. Or like another US solution or whatever. Huh. That's an interesting way to look at it. What's your best performing market?
So it changes depending on where our customers are using us for. But we have, obviously Tanzania is one of our bigger markets. Then West Africa is one of our, you know, like, so Nigeria is good. Senegal, Zambia. These are some of our.
And your HQ is still here?
Yeah, most of our team is still here. We have an office in Nairobi as well, so we have a bunch of team members there.
Have you ever thought about, being that you're in so many countries, have you ever thought about maybe shifting where your headquarters are because of?
I think, I mean, unless the core team wants to move.
You don't need to?
We don't need to,
Okay.
right? I mean, we can serve from anywhere.
Right.
You know, we can all be living in somewhere else and still serve customers.
Yeah.
But I think the core team is still here, so the gravitational pull is still here.
Yeah.
And I think Tanzania has, and Dar es Salaam has a good quality of life, right?
Yeah, that's true.
A balance that is hard to find.
In most other places.
Other places, yeah.
Tanzania is pretty incredible that way.
Yeah, so I think we're grateful for that, and, you know, let's maximize that, right? Even Nairobi is great to work in. It's, you know, the hustle, you know, people are speed, but then the quality of life balance isn't there.
Yeah.
So you know, we get the best of both.
Yeah. I did my uni in Nairobi. I wouldn't want to live there.
Yeah,
it's a nice place to stay short term.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
But it's a
the quality of life is not the same. Yeah, and our food is better. I like food.
Yes. I mean, it's the small things: the beach, the food.
The beach, the food, the people. Yeah. We were joking earlier that you have gray hair, which is interesting because it's just here. Or do you dye your hair?
Nope.
It just happens here.
Yeah.
All right. So, in my experience, personal and people I've also met, business is always like this.
Yes.
The good thing is that there's highs, so at least it kind of gives you motivation. And then when there's lows, I guess you need a reason bigger than money to keep going. What is that thing that, for instance, that you had to unlearn in order to keep pushing and go from 5 years to 10 years to?
Yeah, I think there's multiple questions in there.
Yeah.
I think I've burnt out a couple of times. I still feel like sometimes I'm burning out. So you need to balance the pace at which you go so that you can sustain the momentum, and also find things that you enjoy that will help you keep going, right? Because there's many times that will come and say, this is it, I'm done with this business, like I just had enough. I want to leave or exit or whatever, right? But there's always something that keeps making you want to keep growing it, because feel like you're not done yet, right? So that's one thing, I think. But in terms of unlearning, I think coming from having done university in the US, and those are your formative years, so you kind of internalize how things work there, right? And we definitely unlearn a lot of those systems, because those don't work
here
in our context, right? And even the way we communicated and the way we designed our product initially, version 1, was a very Western kind of product.
Okay.
So at that time when we first started, we had there were two sides of the product. One was I'm a business, I have my customers, and I want to communicate with them. The other side was like a Groupon kind of concept where I sign up to receive offers, and then we send you targeted offers.
Oh.
Yes. And that was a very kind of Western concept. But it was never going to work because none of the businesses wanted to give offers. Fundamentally, no one wanted to give an offer, right? So it was very hard to keep that going. But so it's like things like that you have to unlearn, that it's not going to work that way, right? And also it takes like business ethics, and how you do business is very different, right? From someone who's done it in the West to kind of how it's done here, right? It's not, like you said before, it's not the solution you have or the product. It's really about who you know and how you kind of get into the door, right? So those things I really had to unlearn and kind of internalize, which takes a long time, unfortunately, to change your behavior and your style. And also how we deal with people, because fundamentally a technology company is about our people. And we've had a lot of challenges kind of getting the right team members and the right team in place because we're constantly growing.
Yeah.
So it's always a struggle between, do we hire for now or do we hire for
the future?
And it's just very hard to understand that and learn which kind of people are going to work for you as an organization. And as an engineer, I'm just not good at that, know. And so having to kind of really unlearn, that engineering mentality and say, this is how you're going to have to think through your people challenges and develop a culture and things like that. Those were some tough challenges to overcome. And there still are.
So, for instance, with the burning out, so how does Taha take care of himself?
I like to do outdoors. I like to travel. So I went back to that. I tend to plan a trip, even if it's for work, but it still lets me get out of the day-to-day and kind of really focus on exploring new places, learning about them, learning about the culture, and then bringing that learning back. So I tend to do that a lot, and that keeps the momentum going. And I also like to do outdoor, like camping, hiking. So I started doing that a lot more within Tanzania. Yeah.
Okay. And you started doing this like early on, or?
I mean, I
Many,
used to
many
do it
years.
as a kid a lot, even in college. But then there was a long period when we weren't doing these things, and so I just got back into the saying, "Oh, we're going to allocate time and just make time for this stuff."
Okay. And those activities, what, they help you take your mind off?
Yeah, because you're off the grid. You know, when you're camping,
Yeah.
you're essentially if you wanted to, can be completely off the grid. So there's nothing to focus on except just relaxing and hiking and enjoying nature and things like that.
I was
And that's probably one of the only ways to really disconnect in this day and age.
probably, yeah. Or turning
Because
off your phone.
the tendency is to pick up your phone
Yeah, to touch
every
it all the
30
time.
seconds.
Yeah, and see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even though nothing has changed in 30 seconds.
Most likely.
Most
yeah.
likely.
I turned off my notifications about 5 years ago. No, 7 years ago. I technically don't have notifications. I have notifications for Google Meet, Zoom, and Teams, but that's it. Just in case I miss a meeting. But it hasn't changed how much I still touch my phone. Like I'm constantly touching it. It has reduced though that if I wasn't intending to look, I'm not going to see it. Anyway, like I have to intend to look at my emails or look at my WhatsApp or look at social or whatever.
Yeah. No, I think it's very important. And even small things. Like I try to make it a rule to not check my phone, from the time I wake up until I start work. And again, from the time I get home from work till after dinner. So that
There are breaks.
There are breaks, and you just leave the phone aside and say, okay.
Interesting.
So you have to be a bit conscious and very forceful about some of these things.
Yeah.
It's hard. It's very hard.
Yeah. You were telling me earlier was it your dad? Or is it like a family business that you were used to produce
Music videos.
music videos for like gospel musicians and Tarab.
Yeah.
First of all, is that something that's still being done?
No,
Not anymore?
not anymore.
So when you were saying they were in the computer business, was the computer business happening while the music video business was happening, or just one
That was an evolution of the
music business?
Yes.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So the way it happened is the music business was you had to buy the rights up front.
Right.
And that was a cash heavy business. And
You
it wasn't
pay up
becoming-
front.
Yeah. So it wasn't sustainable. So then we got out of that business
Huh.
and then moved into selling the video editing equipment
For the people who were
for the
still
people
doing.
still doing it, or still wanted to do these things. And then it was that plus then computers.
Oh, so you evolved from that.
From that, yeah.
Okay.
And we've always been a technology family or family business in some format. I mean, at that time it was AV, and then it's evolved to now, startups.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. So it wasn't profitable, or it just wasn't the risk was too high?
Yeah, I mean, basically the artists started demanding more and
More money up front.
upfront, and it wasn't. And then the competition were willing to do that, and
You weren't.
we weren't.
I remember during that time was also, not necessarily gospel and Tara, but like the music scene, ukiangalia bongo flavor nini, kulikuwa kuna changamoto kubwa sana ya artists complaining about like integrity in that space. How much truth is there to that?
I'm sure there is. People were getting cheated a lot, and also the artists themselves were also not 100%.
Like they would sell to you and then
Yeah,
sell to
sell
someone
to
else,
someone
sell to
else.
someone else as well.
Yeah, so the market was like that, and it's not like you're going to go to court to find. I mean, it doesn't exist, right? So it was who could sell the fastest,
Yeah.
and the most, and the business would come to you in that sense. And so that was the way you sustain the business.
Okay. Has the family been supportive of your journey so far?
No, from day one,
Yeah.
I knew I was going to be in business.
Okay.
Like I memories of me growing up are partly at my dad's business. Like spend time there and just help out and just learn, right?
Okay.
I would travel with my dad on his business trips just to literally watch and sit in on meetings. And I mean, I didn't realize at that time, but he would take me along. But those are very powerful experiences and help you really develop as a business person and give you that exposure and that comfort level that, this is possible. So I think that the family has always been very, very supportive, from education to, business and learning. And even when the times are tough, staying, supporting you in that journey.
Okay.
And I think that's a culture that we need to develop more of, right?
Yeah.
That the entrepreneur needs support. This is not, you cannot do this alone. And that's why people, let's say if I was still in the US, I could have lived there and said, I want to start a business there, but I had no support structure and no support system. And it's very, very hard to do that on your own.
Yeah.
Right. So I think if more families got together and did business together, or at least supported the entrepreneur, then I think we would have more businesses in the country, and we need more.
Yeah, but then that would also require a certain level of understanding, right? Like a business person could understand the struggles of a entrepreneur as opposed to somebody who's been employed all their life.
Yeah. So it's a culture mindset change that we have to do, and we have to make entrepreneurship sexy.
Isn't it already sexy? Every once in a while tunapokea feedback kwamba podcast yetu ni ngumu kumeza. Ila sasa tunafanyaje? Maana uhalisia wa stories za watu waliofanikiwa, ukiangalia na ukidadisi na ukiwauliza maswali mazuri, unagundua kwamba it wasn't easy. Kuna ugumu ndani yake, kuna sacrifices ndani yake. Na ndio maana tunaendelea kukukaribisha kwenye Msasa, where we talk to successful people about failure.
No, it's a hustle right now, and it's like
it's not necessarily a sexy hustle. It's just a hustle. It's a
hustle, right? Like if you look at India, they're making startups, like glorifying startups. And so every student who wants to come out wants to do a startup. Right? And we need that. Right? So that we have thousands, so that there's an ecosystem.
How sustainable is that though? Like, I mean,
it doesn't have to mean it's funded startups, right?
Yeah.
But it's just people trying to develop product.
Yeah, but then if everybody, okay, not everybody, but if a very high proportionate of startups are usually straight from uni, doesn't that bring certain kinds of imbalances with regards to
I mean,
maybe it's solutions?
It's an it's an exaggeration, right? Not everyone has to be from uni.
Right.
Go get a job.
And
then
come to this. Yeah.
But the media, everyone is talking about startups. Right? Like when have you opened ITV and they talk about a startup? I can't remember.
Not many times, yeah.
So there's shows on TV just analyzing different startups.
Yeah.
And the trends.
Yeah.
I mean, when are we going to get to that level?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like there would be a show on real estate, there's a show on startups.
Yeah.
To analyze the trends, the market, what are valuations like, things like that.
It's a good TV show.
Yeah. So,
right?
I think we need to get to that level.
Yeah.
And really drive, because we fundamentally cannot create enough jobs for everyone in the country.
Technically, we can't, yeah.
And the only way to do it is to have enough businesses.
And a robust ecosystem with different kinds of solutions that serve different kinds of needs.
And if we have 1,000, maybe we'll get 50 that become big.
Right.
Okay, 50 will become medium, 5 will become massive.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
Yeah. And then that just needs to happen every cycle.
5 years.
Yeah.
And that's enough.
And then we can export more too.
Yeah.
Right?
we should be an export-driven economy. If we're gonna grow as a country, we have to be export-driven, and that export cannot just be natural resources, because right now, the only thing we're exporting is natural resources. Tourism is an export of our scenery and our wildlife.
Yeah.
Gold, every LNG is going to be an export of every fundamental thing that's actually driving the country is an export of a natural resource, and that's not sustainable. We have to be exporting service. We have to be exporting finished product.
Right.
And the money is outside. We want to bring that money
Back.
in.
Yeah.
So we have to change that mindset. Right now, we're an more import-driven economy because we want to consume and we want to buy stuff. But we need to change the mindset. What do you want? If you go out, you want to buy something. You're not going to buy a service.
Most of the time,
Most of the time. So, but in the West, it's the opposite, right? People are buying more service than stuff, to a certain extent, in the way the economies are developing.
The way they're running. Even when you buy a phone, you're buying a phone plan.
Exactly.
So you pay the phone over 3 years.
So now you get it.
What's the craziest piece of advice you've been given? It's just like, what?
Craziest piece of advice.
Yeah.
I can't think of one crazy piece of advice, but I think the advice is just like you do it, right? Like whatever, you don't hesitate.
No, that's good advice. I mean, like bad advice.
Bad advice.
Yeah.
Bad advice.
What?
I can't think of anyone giving me bad advice.
Yeah?
No.
How is that possible? Are you lucky? Or you just don't take...
Maybe I'm too logical in my thinking, and I filter that out immediately. If someone talks crap and I'm like, doesn't add 1 + 1 just doesn't become 5. So
yeah,
I filter it out too.
Yeah. Do you think you have work-life balance?
Not enough.
You have some?
Getting there.
Yeah?
Getting there.
What is work-life balance?
I think, well, at this stage in my life, it's probably creating enough time for kids and family.
You have kids?
Yeah.
How many?
2.
Okay.
So I would say that's probably the most important thing. And also for exercise and kind of outdoors, that kind of thing, to keep the mind and the body fresh. I think those would be the important things.
Yeah.
To keep, and probably folks might say faith, right? So if you make time for all of these, then you're creating enough balance to make it a long journey, right? Because it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? So if you eat the right foods, then over time you'll
be fine. Yeah.
And these are the foods to kind of get you through that marathon.
Yeah. You talked about pacing yourself. Like how do you kind of catch yourself and let yourself either take a pause and reflect kind of thing, or take a break so you don't constantly burn out all the time? Or do you have like an ecosystem of people who also help you catch yourself? Like how has that experience been for you?
I think over time I've understood myself a lot more. I couldn't realize that it was happening before. Now I'm able to realize that your body tells you that it's becoming too much. So I automatically have to check myself, because I would overcommit myself before. Now I automatically know that I need to kind of tone it down and kind of pace it. And a simple example of that is, before, if someone wanted to book a meeting with me, I would say, okay, tomorrow. But now I'll say next week or the week after.
Because?
Just so that I can pace myself.
All right. Is there any relationship between that and the fact that that week has also already been booked?
Partly,
Partly.
but it's also said that I have enough gaps, if I can create enough gaps to actually get stuff done.
Yes.
All right.
How do you make gaps? Do you have specific blocks of time during the day, during the week, or?
Yeah, so I try to be intentional about saying, look, I'm only going to do meetings in the afternoons.
Right.
So that I can get the mornings to actually focus on things.
Mm-hmm.
So it's small intentional things like that.
Mm.
But that doesn't always work out.
Yeah, it doesn't always work out, but at least you try. Are you spiritual?
A bit. No, I don't think I could be more. Could be more, or at least my family and my mom probably would like me to be more spiritual. But I am a bit, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you consider yourself lucky?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Why?
Because I think a lot of stars have aligned to get me to where I am today. Right. And I don't think, yes, you could say you worked hard and you were in the right place at the right time. But I think for it to happen consistently and then get you here, I think there has to be an element of luck and faith and hard work and everything combined together.
Yeah. Do you think those are the qualities of a good entrepreneur?
I think so. Yeah. I think every entrepreneur has to work hard.
Yeah.
And if they work hard enough in a specific domain, they'll be in the right place at the right time, because that opportunity will come to you instead of you chasing that opportunity.
As a result of working hard, or as a result of being in the same domain for a long time?
As of both, right? Because if you build a big enough business in a specific domain and people know you
For something. Then they look for that thing.
Then when those opportunities come, they'll say, talk to X and X.
Yeah. I was listening to a podcast the other day, and I think they were talking something along the same lines that if you're in a service type of business, something that you can't actually touch, it could potentially be more beneficial to niche down. And niching down doesn't necessarily mean you can't do other things. You just don't promote that or let people identify you as that alone. So that if they need you to do it, you can still do it. But you want people to know you for a specific thing so that they ask for that specific thing over and over and over and over an extended period of time. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. So we have a segment in our show that we call Njia Boxing. Okay. And in this segment, first of all, is this a show or a podcast? Is a podcast a show? Technically, it is entertaining. Hopefully. Amal, is a podcast a show, or is a podcast and the show different things? I guess so. So it could be a show. Show doesn't have to be TV. Anyway, Njia Boxing. So, kwenye Njia Boxing ni, what we try and do is we try and get the guests to take us to school, essentially kutupiga Msasa. Yeah? And we have you today, right? And you are a computer engineer, which means something very technical. I heard somewhere that you did 2 degrees at the same time, yes, insinuating a certain level of intelligence. Right?
I was an overachiever.
Well, good for you, man. And somebody who's been exposed to business for a relatively long time, even before having done your own. Hopefully that's a blessing, because it's been in the family and stuff like that. And also, interestingly, which I just learned today, you've been profitable from day one. So as somebody who has been running the same business for 15 years, please share with us, in your opinion, what you think is required in order. You cannot guarantee success, but in order to create an opportunity for you to have the best chances of success, and more importantly, the business of business is business, right? More importantly, profitability. What are the things that a founder needs to be very, very serious about to increase their chances of moving that needle. Sorry.
Do you want me to talk about it from a tech business perspective or any business perspective?
I think I would like the tech business perspective because it will be specific to you. And for instance, if you could also have examples, even if they're not your own, but yeah.
Okay. So I think with tech-driven businesses, I'm personally a fan of building a product. But like what we were talking about before, you really have to, the product doesn't come naturally. Right? You really have to listen to the customer constantly and understand their pain points and bake those into the product. And that has to happen iteratively, continuously, even after you've sold it to them. So that journey never stops of you evolving and iterating and improving. And that, I think, is a very important thing to remember, that you always have to keep iterating, understanding the problem. Are you solving the problem? Has the problem changed? Has the market changed? Has the technology changed? What can you do better? Or what can you offer more to stay in the game and keep the customer coming back to you? And that's not necessarily unique to a technology business, but it's just a faster process in the technology because the technology changes so often, right? Every 6 months, we have to keep changing. Whereas in traditional business, you could go 2-3 years and still be in the same place and it's okay. Right?
Yeah.
I think from a profitability standpoint, I think understanding the unit economics is very, very important. And that's easier, much harder to do or easier said than done.
The unit economics.
Unit economics. Right. So when you're selling a physical product, it's easy. I bought it for X.
I'm going to sell it for
I added 20% and I'm going to sell it for Y. And maybe there's some logistics costs, boda washing of tunnel, whatever.
Yeah.
You added those costs. In a software or service business, it's much harder because there's many intangibles and many fixed costs that how do you calculate the fixed cost or the unit cost of selling one thing, right? So just for an example, for this podcast, you don't have variable costs, right? So maybe you bought water for each show.
But it's relatively
But
fixed.
it's a lot of fixed costs. And how do you gauge what is the value you're going to get from one show? If you were to measure and calculate the cost and then the value you're going to create from one show, it's very hard.
Yeah.
So that you have to figure out a way to figure that out, right? And divide the costs and really figure out, okay, to sell one of these, I need to spend X amount, and that means I need to sell Y of these to actually make this work with this much margin. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It's just difficult.
Yeah, it's very hard.
Yeah.
And it's very hard because it's very hard to say this marketing effort led to this sale.
Yeah.
The attribution is not clear. Right?
Yeah.
Because it's not a traditional e-commerce where someone clicked on a Google ad and
they put it in a cart and
it's not like that because the sales cycle could be 6 months.
Yeah.
And they heard about you from the Msasa podcast and then they talked to you and then then they talked to one salesperson, that salesperson left.
Yeah.
Then another salesperson.
Yeah.
And then they closed.
Yeah.
So how are you going to attribute that this is what it cost me to actually sell this product? And is it actually profitable?
And the profitability would come from what, volumes?
Yes, it's just a function of how many you're selling, how fast, right? And is each overall, am I covering my fixed costs? And is there enough of a return on top of that?
Okay. So you mentioned unit economics. You mentioned iteration and continuous product development.
Yeah. And then I think building out the team.
The team.
Yeah. Just building out the right team that's going to help you execute in the right functions, right? Whether it's engineering, sales, marketing, ops, finance. You need all of these pieces. And, as a startup founder, you would think, okay, we'll figure it out later. But then when the time that later comes, it's maybe too late.
Yeah.
So it's not, you have to hire ahead of where you are right now because you want to set the right foundation, but it's also tricky because maybe you can't afford that person or you don't have enough work for that person.
Yeah.
So how will you do that? And it's, unfortunately, it's very hard to find people who are all-rounders.
Yeah.
Right? They're good at certain things. If we had more all-rounders, I think we would be much, in generally, if our education system produced more all-rounders, we would be able to get further.
So as a tech startup founder, who are your most important hires in the early days?
It's salespeople and software engineers.
So product and sales. And then everything else falls
as the need arises.
As the need arises.
Yeah, because initially you're the sales guy, you're the engineer, you're the customer service, you're the one doing the invoicing.
Fantastic. Wow. And ever since you started Beam, what's been the biggest fuck up?
I think people has been our biggest challenge. And there was probably one incident I can recall when we suddenly went from 6 staff to 1 within a week.
What?
Yeah.
How?
I'm not sure, but I'm trying to recall, but everyone left for different reasons.
At the same time?
At the same time.
They resigned?
They resigned or they got poached. And it was only me and a 55, 60-year-old who was my dad's employee and had stuck. And just, he was replying to social media posts at that time.
Wow.
It came to that. So then we literally had to start from zero and kind of build everything out again.
What was the lesson from that?
I think you just become very, very resilient that, if people want to work with you, come and stay and work. But if you don't, just go, right? I don't want to force you to stay if you really don't believe in the business and don't have a long-term vision with the business.
But then that also ties back to the business, right? Because
Yes.
the business also needs to give you a reason.
Yes.
Right? And that ties into culture.
It ties into culture.
Yeah. Internal communication.
Yes. And that took a long time to learn that the culture was what that was missing and what needed to change. Because as an engineer, your approach is, we'll fix it, but you can't really fix these things. You have to really kind of cultivate these or you assume the people will understand by looking at you as the role model, but it doesn't work like that. People are lazy fundamentally and take the easiest path.
Yeah.
So you have to actually force culture. And you have to set the boundaries and what is right, what is not right. You have to actually define these and spell it out and
communicate it.
Talk about it like every single week, like the headmaster at school. Your nails are not correctly trimmed. Your hair is every week it's the same, but it's for a reason because they want to set the tone and the standard and the culture.
And are you responsible for setting culture in your team, or do you have someone else to do that?
Someone else is helping me drive that, but everyone is responsible in the leadership.
Right.
because if you slack off, then everyone else slacks off.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
yeah. So even I am accountable if I am not coming to the office or if I'm late. I will check in and
let people know
that why I'm not.
Why? Yeah. So that it becomes a culture. Yeah. Taha, thank you so much for giving us your time. This was a lovely conversation.
No, thank you. I really enjoyed the conversation and learned something.
Yeah? Cool.
Every once in a while, tunapokea feedback kwamba podcast yetu ni ngumu kumeza. Ila sasa, tunafanyaje? Maana uhalisia wa stories za watu waliofanikiwa, ukiangalia na ukidadisi na ukiwauliza maswali mazuri, unagundua kwamba it wasn't easy. Kuna ugumu ndani yake, kuna sacrifices ndani yake. Na ndio maana tunaendelea kukukaribisha kwenye Msasa, where we talk to successful people about failure.